Hi, this is Robert Kiyosaki, and you're listening to Capital Hacking. This is the most important thing you can listen to today.
Hello, this is Josh McCown from Renault Winery Resort, and we have a very important announcement from Matt Sorensen about Learn and Grow, August 24th. Take it away, Matt.
I'm Matt Sorensen from Directed IRA. I'm excited to be the keynote speaker at the Learn and Grow event for Accountable Equity on August 23rd and 24th. Got to book your tickets and get registered. I'm excited to be there and to meet you in person.
I have a dream.
With great power comes great responsibility.
I could do this all day.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
They may take our life, but they'll never take our freedom.
Cinderella's story out of nowhere.
It's in the hole. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Capital Hacking begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the big show. John, I came in slow on that one.
You know what though, Josh? It has been quite a day of interviews, but your energy and your charisma is still there. Welcome back. All right, there it is. I did it for you.
Oh, God bless America.
Today we interviewed Matt Ryder, awesome guy, third Aussie that we had. If you don't know what Aussie is, he's the third Australian guest we've had on the show. He's amazing. He is in the world of high ticket sales. Right.
So this is a very geeky style show, meaning like you're going to learn a lot if you're in this space. We go deep into the idea of what is a high ticket sale and what is the way marketing, how do you go from marketing to closing? This is the sales sniper, Matt Ryder, calling in from Australia. Enjoy the show.
Let's go.
It is not every day that you get to meet a sales sniper like Matt Ryder. So I'm glad you're here, buddy. It's great to have you.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, we're excited, buddy.
You're heroes, but here you are.
Yeah, and you know what? For our listeners, this is the third Australian guest that we have had on Capital Hacking. So that's exciting. Matt, can you give us a little background on who you are and what you guys do?
Yeah. So my name's Matt, and I'm sort of a sales specialist. So, like sales and marketing, like acquisitions kind of specialist. Been working in the, I guess, like sort of more high ticket realm for a while. But before that, it was fitness, and before that, I was in the military. And so been kind of traveling around, going from company to company, flogging my wares and convincing people and other people to give people money. And hopefully I make some money within that transaction somewhere. But yeah, that's as vague as I can be.
Yeah, you are a little vague, but Matt did not necessarily want to be on the show, but we're talking to him and we're learning from him, and he's just he's got some serious gifts. So in this high ticket world, first of all, could you define that for a minute? And you're kind of in a type of specialty that we've not had guests on the show. So if you could be a little more teach us like we don't understand high ticket sales.
Yeah. So I started off in like fitness, and then from there, was opening gyms, I guess, for a living. Like I'd go around and like kind of like I was an owner, like a part owner in like a gym chain. And then I would kind of go from gym to gym, like filling up the gyms. That's what I would do.
Yeah, but
then, when I got out of that, I actually got out of that just before COVID. I'd love to say it was because I saw it coming, but I just serendipitously got out just before COVID. Then from there, started like a sales agency where I was doing the sales for gyms, right? And then transitioned that into like the marketing for gyms, right? And then that transitioned into like the business coaches for like the marketers. You know what I mean? And then it kind of like, then it was like the coaches that coach type stuff, right? So it's sort of people that run, like higher price programs, say $3,000-$5,000 plus, all the way up to, $250,000 for programs. And they usually teach a skill that learns how to make money. But I've also worked in like banking. So I've done like some there's like really, really great, I don't know if they can legally be called a bank, but it's called Airwallex. Really great, like online, sort of like a Wise, but more comprehensive, if that makes sense. I redid their APAC stuff. I've worked with like Libman Cleaning Products, which is they do about $450 million
And-
in one of the divisions. Like I restructured their acquisition client journey, customer pathway, that's where someone learns about them and then from there comes in and becomes a customer. And then like,
Right.
how do you then create more out of that customer? So how do you like do a land and expand model, or how would you go through and, kind of make that buying journey easier? And how do you make one that makes sense given the marketing avenues that you have? And so I've done that within a lot of different spaces. The predominant has been either like high ticket fitness, which I think is great. And I'm doing a lot in that space at the moment. It's also really, really scalable because you can sell it to people more than once, right? I was quite prolific in sales coaching, right? I was one of the sort of founding members and owners, and I was the CEO of a company called Seventh Level for the past few years, which is one of the bigger sales training organizations in sort of the US. And then I've done it in, like marketing and the agency space and, basically those sort of like business coaching, entrepreneurship type areas, but I've done stuff with like Brad Lee. So I came in and I basically ran, like restructured Lightspeed, which is his company. So we came in there, me and my team, we restructured the sales, marketing, operations, client fulfillment, basically everything of that business for over a 4 to 5 month period. Even offered to buy it, but he said no. Done that for a few other companies, and recently sold my share in Seventh Level, and now I've come back over to my agency that's been running the whole time, which is Sales Sniper, which is like an acquisitions company. So we usually do the sales and the marketing for companies, or sometimes we just do the sales, sometimes we just do the marketing. And then we've just launched a call center. So for the past 6 months, we've been building out a like high ticket call center where people can send us their leads. And then we have like a very, very comprehensive system of assessing those leads and then booking them back into the sales calendars of the people who work within the business, right? So, which is a huge sort of gap in the market given some of the current landscape. But that's it in a nutshell.
So this is the apex of business, is being able to attract and secure a client. Nothing starts until a sale happens. So you're in a beautiful part of the economy, okay? And doing it sounds like you could do it with teams that are not physically near each other. So you're like a fully remote business, I'm sure. Yeah. You're in Australia. Are the rest of your teammates in America? Where are your teammates?
Oh, they're a little bit all over the place. We have a good contingent in the States, and then we have a good contingent. Like I'd say more admin and ops and finance is all in Australia, because we have an office in Sydney, and then a lot of the sales force is in the US, but there's people in UK, Colombia, Dubai, you kind of name it.
And the part that I just want to make sure I understand, and I'm speaking for the listener for a minute. When you come into a business, it sounds like you have a process where you identify what's working, what's not, and then you'll take it from there, right? If someone said, here are the keys, they're not, it's not like a piecemeal contract. You would be able to redesign their offers all the way out to close sales.
Yeah. So generally speaking, like you have to have a good product. Like that's what keeps a business going is the quality of the product, right? Like you can have the greatest sales and marketing in the world. If the product's crap, it's going to fall apart. And as it should, And so it starts with that, but like that doesn't mean that you can't have a good product and not have the way that it's presented to the market correctly. And so like, some people, like I recently worked with a phenomenal business. They're like a tech company, and this guy's exited 3 tech companies before, but this one, they're just struggling with certain things, and they've sort of done a bit of a cash burn already through their venture debt. And but the offer, it's everything to everyone, and so it's like we can't do that. And yes, it is everything to everyone, but if you try and market that, you'll speak to no one. And so What we did is I spent about a day with them in the office, and we've parsed out what are some good land and expand models, right? Like, so they've built this brilliant calendar system, which is an AI overlay onto all of your calendars for your sales teams. and it will tell you everything. It will just tell you the show up rates, the no show rates, the best time of day for, it'll go forward looking and backward looking pipeline. So they built this because that's a great land and expand system that every business needs, because there is no good kind of unified single source of truth for sales in that way. Like there isn't anything like that, because there are so many systems that talk to each other. And so I was like, that's a great way that we can land and expand, right? Which is, like improving the offer, but it's there. It just needs to be, salesified, I guess, right? But then from there, we have a done for you acquisition side. So we'll come in and we'll just kind of like take it over. So we'll go like, okay, you guys deal with the product side. What we'll do is we'll create the marketing plan, and then we'll create the sales plan. And then, basically like you give us the projections, and then from there, and then we'll say, hey, this is the budget that we're going to need to work with that. And then, from there, it's like, okay, this is the ad spend, this is the creative, this is how we're going to do it, this is the platforms we're going to use, and then start actually like building out everything and media buying and doing things.
So, John, if I can ask a question here. So, Matt, I've been referred to you because of your expertise. So, the funny part is if a listener's listening to this, are like, this guy's super smart, and you can do it in a few different areas, and high ticket makes sense. Which part of this whole model did you first dive into and fall in love with? Were you great at the analytics online that could get somebody to click on an ad, or were you great at after that to the close? Like, where did you get into this whole life cycle?
I guess I first got into marketing because I used to own my own gym, and I was in a very competitive space. And I'm known for sales, but like my first thing was like, because I was a sniper, and sniper is all about data. Like as any sniper that's even,
you were a real sniper in the military.
Yeah, so you can. I was a tier 1 special operations sniper, right? So equivalent to SEALs, right? Or like.
And so what's the first thing they do? They tell you to get data.
Yeah. So
in that world,
you could say, hey, listen, we're at this elevation, this direction, cold bore, this distance. Like, what's your data? And someone should just be able to kind of tell you that if they're actively, right? Because that's their job. And if you can't, like, you're not very good at your job, and so because that's an important thing. And so it's very data driven, and shooting is very similar to marketing and sales, like from a standpoint, because like, slight changes make, small levers open big doors, right? And so,
interesting.
And so I took that, and then like I always liked that component of shooting. I really enjoyed it. So when I went into the marketing world, like I was doing my own. This is back in 2012, when like you could really mess with Facebook, and it was a much easier landscape than what it is today. I couldn't media buy today. Like I'm sure I could figure it out again, but it's a much more, it's like, someone who drove a Model T Ford and then being chucked into a fucking Bugatti. You know what I mean?
So wait. Did you say, so you're talking back in 2012, you jumped in and started buying Facebook, Meta ads, whatever. Yeah. And it was relatively easy. You would get really high success.
To do, but I did a sales copy course by a guy called John Benson. Highly recommend his stuff. Very serendipitously, he reached out to me about 2 weeks ago to do his to sell one of his new programs, and I was like, you're the first course I ever bought. So anyway, I bought his 3x VSL copywriting course, and I learned how to do copywriting, right? So that's when I learned about like, the headline, like, and it's all data, right? So it's like the headline and the picture, the picture is going to be, and the headline is going to be your click-through rate, right? So I can mess with that, and the body's going to be this. So all the numbers tell you something about what you can change. And so I got quite good at that in a rudimentary sense, but I was getting very cheap leads from my gym, like way cheaper than any agency could do. And then I had a whole way of like rotating content and offers. I did male then female, and I rotated, right? So, and then I would give content, and anyway, I had a whole system that I kind of worked out over the course of years that worked quite well. But then from there, like, when the gyms got bigger, then I handed that over and to people who were better at it than I was, right? And then I would just do sales. And then like I wasn't good at sales, but I kind of had to work it out. And then so I did like a sales training program. That was a really rough, like very kind of beat 'em up form of sales. you know, like really old school buy or die. You know, you're not allowed to hang up the phone unless somebody, you know, either buys or hangs up, right? Like that's kind of how we were taught. So that's how I sold for a while. And then from there, you know, as I left the gym space, I was quite good at the sales component. And so sales is always it's just a big bugbear. People hate it, right? And so like people hate it, so they're very happy to outsource it. And there's not many good salespeople around. Like a good salesperson is far more of a commodity, is a far harder commodity than the business.
Right.
Right. You know, there's that old adage of like, you know, like I remember when I was on offers and like the CEO or the owner of the business would like try and tell me stuff. And I'd be like, shut up, man. You're not my boss. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm the best salesperson here. I produce 5 times the revenue everybody else. If I want to park in your parking spot, I'm going to park in your parking spot. Like, what are you going to do? Fire me? Like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the attitude that a very, very high producing rep has, because they know. What are you going to do? Oh, just go to that guy. I think you're bankrupt. Like, all right. So like, you know, and that's a problem, but, you know, it is what it is, which is why when I ran the company, like it was always easier because they knew that I was better than them in terms of sales. Like I was always the highest producer, and every now and then I would step back in and I would outproduce everybody, and then I'd leave. So
how did you take that and build a team? Like what? So today you're talking about full stack. Yeah, you've been your model, and the people that recommend you believe in you, and now you're willing to take a product. So going back to that model from a minute ago, that great technology company you're helping, they actually have a very big software. It sounds like you called it land and expand.
Yeah, like land and expand. Yeah, so
that's cool
because it's easier than like going, I'm going to fix everything for you. Like I have the brand equity these days to where I can go, give me everything, and people go, okay, right? You know, it's like when you buy an Apple phone, like you're going to pay more, but like you know what you're getting. I'm not Apple. I'm not saying that, right? But it's like I don't do any lead generation. I do content, right? But I've never, like my agency at its peak when I was full time in it was doing about $26 million a year just on the agency side. Never ran an ad.
Wow.
Right? $0 advertising. Right. So,
but this is, and I don't want to dig in so much, but that's exactly what I was about to say. So at the end of the day, the acquisition, the full life cycle acquisition to close is you guys are driving a pretty sizable spend. That would be the way it would look to work with you is a budget for spend, obviously a budget for service, and then commissions. So that budget to spend, you know, there's guys out there like Mr. Beast who study data, as you say, and he hacked it. Like the guy can do, you know, he has these stories. He can make something famous even if nobody knows he's behind it.
Yeah.
Is that you? Are you a Mr. Beast for companies?
Oh, I mean, I don't think that he's a 24-year-old billionaire. Yeah, I mean, I think, but I think what I am is more patient than most. Like the main reason, like I think because business isn't the hardest thing I've ever done, and I've had genuinely difficult circumstances in my life where I've held people as they bleed to death, and you know I've had to deal with difficult things, and I realized that, like, you know, what's that old line, like this too shall pass, that like, you know, and I've done enough sales and spent enough of my own money to where I realize that like you can't make really, really quick decisions in business. Like you have to be decisive, and you have to, like, a quick decision is not like a decision to do something, but a decision to change something should be quite considered. And you need to be in the biggest issue is people in their sales and marketing are looking for reasons to make changes, but they should be looking for reasons to not. Right? Oh. Like if it's the 3rd of July or the 5th of July, you know, right, and all of a sudden their revenue drops, their show up rates drop, right? Like their advertising gets more expensive. Like you don't change anything. Like it's just because the 4th of July is coming up. That's all it is. Like just chill the fuck out and ride it out. Like it's always going to happen, right? And this is what happens. People don't forecast and plan because they don't, and I do, right? I forecast and I plan very, very meticulously. And so, and then from there, like if something is working, it's working. sales teams don't magically get way better or way worse overnight. So like, and the problem is people are stacking these micro changes that are just total nonsense on top of each other without giving things time to fulminate. Like if I teach you a new script and you go out and do 20 calls and say, oh, it doesn't work. It's like, well, your first 10, you were just learning it. Like you weren't even following it really properly. You were reading it. It was shit. You can throw them out the window. The next 5, maybe you got a bit better at. And then the next 5, you might have spoken to one type of person. So like with marketing, the instances that you get of something happening is really frequent and fast, right? Like 5,000 people to a landing page. So you can make changes every 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And it's going to work, right? Because it's not about time. It's about the amount of people that hit things, right? Whereas with sales, like it's a slower moving pace. And so it's like just having the patience to sit back and be like, guys, like this is fine. Like we have to go through this process. And I think like a lot of business owners are looking for instantaneous ROI, and like nothing worth doing is probably going to give you that. And so like, you know, you have to lay foundations, and like for a business to be really successful, especially in the marketing space, like there has to be a foundation of like content, branding, trust building. Like a lot of people are trying to sell, you know, $10,000 programs and their website is a landing page. It's like, guys, you can't do that. Like if you have a look at like, because you can see what everyone does, right? You can see where they go, and like, the best leads are to the website, so we should drive traffic to the website. It's like, no, mate. The best leads just navigate their way to your website through.
That's what I always say.
And that's the final opt-in part. You know what I mean? It's like, don't.
So Matt, yeah. You know, I get it. I get that this call is a tricky call, John, because we're digging in on really precise things, but then Matt's doing a great job of teaching principles at the same time. But I will make one joke. He's a sniper. He can do both. He can zoom out and zoom in. So I will say this one funny thing, Matt, to just confirm what you're saying. So we do wedding businesses as well as other resort, and we have a lot of leads, thank God. And they keep telling me, it's the website, Josh. It's the website. And I'm like, wait a second. What do you mean? They're like, the contact form. That's where we're getting all our leads. I said, time out. How did they get to the website? You know, was it the social media or was it the paid ads? Because we do spend a lot on paid ads. And I think we are now finally getting better attribution. Yeah. And it's dominantly coming from the money we're spending. It's not, and the website is just an organ. Yeah, they're just navigating to the website, right?
Hi, this is Melanie McCallan. Josh and I are just so grateful for the many investors who have already joined us at Accountable Equity. Accountable Equity is so much more than a capital group. It's really a community of accredited investors that want to learn and grow together. I just want to personally invite you, if you want to find out more about this type of investment and see if it's right for you and your family, please visit us at accountableequity.com. You can fill out the contact form. We'll get right back to you and see if this is a great fit for you and your family. We'd love to meet you. We look forward to learning about you. Please visit us at accountableequity.com.
Hey, this is Matt Sorensen, author of the Self-Directed IRA Handbook, CEO at Directed IRA. You're listening to the best podcast, the Capital Hacking Podcast.
Yeah, it's like, that's where something like Hyros comes into play. You know what I mean? Where you can like revenue attribute, or if you use HubSpot and you have all the tracking codes and everything, you can see like on HubSpot, like the way that I've set up HubSpot for a few businesses, like I can see if a lead, like they've gone to the website 32 times in the past month.
So let's do that. That is a hot button issue, John, and I want you to share, and then we'll kind of pivot to any open question John has, or we'll tease the audience. But HubSpot versus GoHighLevel. A lot of our friends own companies. What's going on in the world of GoHighLevel? I mean, everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
What is your opinion of that?
I think GoHighLevel is a fantastic alternative to HubSpot for businesses that don't have the budget or the like manpower to run HubSpot properly. But I think like if I was an agency, well, I am an agency owner, but if I was so inclined and I would just put all my clients in HubSpot. I mean, on GoHighLevel, like, you know, it's one house. It doesn't talk well with others. And I don't think it does anything particularly amazingly, but it does do everything. And if you use it if that's all you use, I think it's a good option, and it's cheap. I think it's shockingly cheap, and I think that will have to change. I think they must be cash burning. I don't know how it's so fucking cheap. You can have sub accounts and they're all free. Like, I don't know how that works, right? Like, I know guys that have agencies and they charge $5K for a HubSpot build out, and it's InstaClone, right? $5K and it's free. It's like, what is happening, right? I think it breaks. I mean, okay, well, that's not true. The biggest business that I've got on there at the moment did 18,000 sales calls last month, right? That's a lot of calls, and that's running all through GoHighLevel. So it does work at scale, and it is cheap, like I said. I think from a real nitty-gritty standpoint, HubSpot is superior. I think like it is a better product. It is more comprehensive. It is better laid out. The data you can get is cleaner. It's but it is big and expensive. And if you have a shitload of leads, like this business that I just spoke about, we have 90,000 leads a month. Like, right. HubSpot would be obnoxious. Like, it would be hundreds of thousands a month.
Right.
That would be maybe $250 a month to run.
Right. That's a failure, right?
You know, between, because we have Close and we have GoHighLevel, we're still spending $80,000 a month on CRM fees, right? But it's a lot of people, and we're moving over to my new dollar that I built, which will save some money. But I think they both serve a really, really good purpose, and I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think that HubSpot is a phenomenal. Like, the more I use HubSpot, it really is a phenomenal.
Okay, here we want to jump into the closing session, because you and I could geek out about this for an hour. But why don't you just give us a little piece of advice for those of us that own companies?
Yeah. And
maybe we're not up to the level of hiring you and your agency, but what advice would you give us in the world of marketing today?
I think I think agencies are a much better, cheaper, faster option than hiring internally for like a lot of things. Not necessarily sales, and I own a sales agency. I think that is, there's certain things where that makes sense and certain things where it doesn't. However, I believe that like your goal should be to be able to have a mediocre sales team and still be successful.
Right.
If you require a team of unicorns, then like you're probably not at a level where you can recruit them or pay them, right? Like because like there's just that's just reality. And so like your goal should be to create an insulated marketing environment where you're not just reliant on one channel. You should work with the agency that you get closely. You should give them an agency briefing of exactly what you want and the KPIs that you expect, and they should sign off on that beforehand. And you need to give them, you need to ask them for realistic feedback and make sure you give them what they ask for. Like, I have a marketing agency, right? Like, the amount of people that don't give me the creative that I ask for is insanity.
Wait, they don't give you the what? Can you say it louder?
Right? So, like, we'll write them video scripts, and we just need them to shoot them. And it is like pulling teeth to get people to do the things. And, like, their lead cost drops by 30% the moment we get new creative, right? And we ask for it every day. And it takes 3 weeks to get it. And it's like, why aren't I getting more sales? It's like, well, because you don't want to up the budget. Well, I can't up the budget till we get more sales. It's like, well, then shoot the fucking ad. I mean, like, what do you want me to tell you? Like, that's a common thing, right?
That's good advice.
Give your marketing team what they need, and they will, and then split test them against other people. Like, I don't give a fucking people split test me, but, like, and maybe every now and then have someone try and make friends with someone who's decent at marketing so they can audit your shit every now and then. Right? Like, it's always good. I've got a mate who's really high level at marketing, and I've had him audit my stuff randomly all the time. He's always got access to all the ads accounts, and he just goes in there and has a poke around and goes like, oh, you should have a look at that, and just make sure people don't steal my money as well. So,
love it. Matt, thank you so much for all this wisdom and the depth that you went, and it was fantastic. Where can our listeners connect with you?
Real Matt Ryder, I believe, is the Instagram, or I think it's Matthew Ryder on YouTube. I sort of do. I have like a lot of content. I've been doing content pretty consistently for a while. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. We can't wait to check it out.
Appreciate it.
Damn straight. We just got
buddy.
We got to the end of another great show. And everyone listening right now, you're the family and friends. Thanks for staying till the end.
That was so fun. And hey, hit the like, hit subscribe. We're here to serve you guys. That's why we're doing this show. Josh is not paying me. I'm doing this off of my quote unquote sweat equity because we want to make a difference in your life. And then that ripple effect will continue to touch the world.
Hey, amen, brother. Please check us out on capitalhacking.com, all the social media threads. And yes, I know you've probably already sent this episode to one of your best friends. Thank you. We love you. Just go right into your iPhone, hit the plus symbol. We'll talk to you later. See you next week.
Share.